This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now. This is a dangerous groups that we're dealing with now.
Hey, welcome to 24/7 Buff Fandemonium Sunday session. Welcome Fandemonium, welcome Mafia, welcome Swank. Guys, I'm going to start it off early because of the week we had. Sunday sessions, we call it sessions because we like to drink our first beer of the day. I'm going to go ahead and pour myself. Yes, it is a Corona, and the reason for that is I'm going to, cut back quite a bit. I might go sober until the draft, so wish me luck, but I have to drink a beer for the Sunday sessions.
Let's talk
Swank,
about
how are
this.
you?
Hold on. You can't just skim right by that. Sobriety until the draft, man. I don't know. I think we've talked about this a little bit in the chat because it's very selfish of you to do this because it affects everyone around you, okay? No, we were talking about that a little bit. It's a lot doing this and being Bills fans and doing this and doing 2 shows a week and you guys keeping up on the pages and doing all that stuff, and like it's weird because like a lot of the culture involves just like drinking, like just casually. But if you're looking at it, there's like Tuesday nights we have some beers. Sunday mornings we have some beers. We have some beers for the games. And then for me, on the flip side of that, I got another stream I do Mondays for the Endless Mountain Derelicts.
Right.
Drink beers then. Tuesday, we got this. Wednesday, I got band practice. Drink beers then. Friday, I'm usually playing. So it's like, I remember at one point a couple months ago, I just had to be like, wow, man, maybe I need to like.
Well, the thing is we're not just sitting at the house putting down a 6-pack. I mean, it's all social events that we're a part of, and you just keep drinking a little. Even if it's 1 or 2 a day, that's still quite a bit. It's still considered a binge in the world of alcoholism, but it is, sometimes you have to cut back a little bit, and I'm choosing to do that. We're going to go on a 6-week, 5-week hiatus. So unfortunately, with that being said, this is going to be our last Sunday sessions until possibly preseason for the Sunday sessions. Because we don't, because unless we want to come on every Sunday during the summer, we'll still figure that one out.
Maybe we'll do
Sunday
some
sessions is more of a okay.
Yeah, it's like
because that's more of our pregame show. You know what I mean?
What do you guys think, man? When do you want it? You know what I mean? Like we started at mid-season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to do some extra stuff. We were going to do like kind of each of us have a show. Scott had the Friday Frenzy. And I was going to do, I can't remember what the hell mine was going to be.
I can't either. You do Endless Mountain Mondays.
Yeah.
So we'll give you credit for that one.
Oh yeah.
A live band stream, guys, every Monday. If you haven't tuned in to 24/7 Buff Pandemonium.
Except
Endless Mountain Derelicts. Yeah. Well, right. But no, you guys decide. I would honestly, I know I'm throwing this on you, but potentially, I'm huge in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe potentially putting out a half an hour something every week about maybe highlighting a player that the Bills potentially can get. I'm going to be active in the Facebook page and Twitter, asking people who they want to address. And then I obviously am not going to pick like an Aiden Hutchinson or Thibodeau defensive end that they're going to be picked 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to be more realistic and grab someone that might fall into our 25th spot. So if you guys want to tune in for that, you're more than welcome. I will let you know exactly how I'm going to do that and when I'm going to do that. That could fill the void a little bit.
Yeah, we could do because we want to obviously keep pushing. That was the whole point of like starting doing like these individual, like all 3 of us, Scott, Jared, and myself, were each going to do another show on top of the K-Gun individually just to get more stuff out there, to keep the interaction up. And life is life, and you start out with an idea, and then it trickles down into something. And actually, Sunday sessions started out as Jared was going to do Sunday sessions because with all of his kids and stuff, he thought that he'd have enough time to do it in the morning. And it turns out not so much. But then Jared and I jumped on it, and I was like very do not touch my Sundays, man. That's the only day I have to do anything for Mr. Swank here, man. And like I would just like, oh god, and set up another show, and then blah, blah, blah. I just want to watch the game and whatever. But I literally text Scott and Jared earlier this week and was like, this has been so great. Like I love doing this. Not only for like 1:00 games, it's like, I'm getting ready for the show at like 10:30, and then before you know it, we're done at like 12:30, and it's almost kickoff for 1:00 games, and you're like, yes.
It filled that nervous void, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the time goes like that, and then you're just like, cool, and you get pumped up, you're talking to everybody, and it's a good time. Of course, Mr. Ryan Thomas joining us for all this. But that's interesting, man. Like saying like with the draft, like we could make this like a seasonal, like rotational thing, like how breweries will do like, oh, it's fall, so we're gonna do this fall beer or whatever. And I'm like,
flavor of the month,
just make IPAs. But
yeah, that's all we care about.
Yeah. We could do it like rotationally. So like Sunday sessions is the in-season show that we do. And then we could do off-season show, or you could do draft show for a couple weeks, Right. We could do like something like that, and maybe it wouldn't be like as as weekly or whatever, or it could be whatever. But I don't know. You guys let us know what you think, because we're just basically having a production meeting right now at 11:42 in the morning.
And Swank, we got like 15 people watching, which is one of the main reasons, guys, why I think Swank and I, we started this Sunday sessions off, and why we absolutely love it now is because we're getting the participation. Honestly, I thought we would get pretty good participation, but knowing that you guys come on every Sunday with us is definitely, cream it well, cream of the crop. I was gonna say a little extra. You know, you get the cake, you get to eat it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Did you
dude.
freeze? Oh, there you go.
No. Yeah,
But
no, I thought you were gonna keep going. But
I
yeah.
was, but then I had a brain fart.
Oh.
There it goes.
It's a good banner you and I have back and forth about this. Yeah, man. I mean, it's really great to double dip. You get to talk to everybody hyped on the K-Gun on Tuesday nights, and then Sunday right before the game, right? And it grew and grew and grew, and you know, we even had an episode with Mark Maddox on. You know, we're gonna be doing kind of like a year in review highlight video for between the K-Gun and Sunday Sessions, specifically the K-Gun, since it's like our baby, you know, like, and that's kind of what started the whole live streaming thing. This year has been very, very good to us, and we've got to do a lot of things that exceeded any goals or expectations that we had. Last year we sat down and we each like wrote out like specific things that we wanted to shoot for the moon for, and I think all of those goals got shattered about halfway through the season.
Yep.
And then we got to do a lot more cool stuff and met a lot more of you guys, and we just want to keep running with it and push it as far as it can go. So yeah, and Sunday Sessions is something that came out from that. I mean, we even got, you know, Mark Maddox was on a Sunday Sessions show, you know, so it's like, it's just, it's fun, man, and it's great to connect with you guys, and we want to just keep doing more and more of that. I'm like so close to just like quitting my job and doing music and this stuff like all the time.
Well, once we start making a whole bunch of money off this, sponsors, anybody want to pay us a couple $1,000 a week? No, I'm kidding. But Swank, to your point, Shane Becker, work second shift, listen to you guys on break, miss you guys. John, Sunday Sessions has me more pumped up for the games. You know, guys,
Thanks,
and when we, you know, Mafia's family, we hear it all the time, but, you know, we got our own little family here that keeps growing, and we absolutely love it. So share, like, tag. But you guys, the OGs on here constantly, yeah, we love hearing that kind of stuff, and we appreciate it. I have right at the top of my list of things to talk about to give a big thank you to the Fandemonium, to the Mafia, because we say it time and time again, but we mean it. We wouldn't be here. We would obviously do that if no one was listening, but you guys make it so much more enjoyable. We get some of our content from you guys. We get the reactions. Some of the things we talk about the next week is because of what we've seen in the conversation that you guys are having. So we absolutely love you guys. We thank you guys. We enjoy having a drink with you at least twice a week. And no, I personally thank you. And I know 24/7 Buff Fandemonium loves it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So Swank.
Yeah.
Let's get this out. Our Bills aren't playing anymore. No, nothing until preseason.
Yep.
So there are still 2 games going on. We're not going to talk much about those games because there's a lot of Bills news to talk about.
Yeah.
So we have the Bengals and the Chiefs playing at 3:00. Fandemonium, let us know who you want to win, who you think is going to win. Who do you got winning that game and why? Bengals versus Chiefs, 3:00 football game. And I think we are picking the same team because of the same reason.
Yep. Well, maybe. I don't know, man. We'll get into it. Go ahead.
I am personally going Chiefs only because I'm one of those guys that believe.
Oh.
I know, right? A little curveball.
Yeah.
I would like to have lost to the team that wins the Super Bowl. That way we could say we lost to the Super Bowl champs.
I like that. That's a very Bills fan argument, and I like it.
Also, that little image that Jared showed us earlier with Burrow walking in with his all pimped out gear and all that stuff. I think he's a good athlete. I think he will he'll be one of the best in the future. But right now he needs to be humbled a little bit, smacked in the mouth. I think nothing against you, Burrow, but you're walking around, you know, smoking that cigar after that championship game when you won with LSU, and you know all that stuff adds up. Eventually, you're going to have some haters, and it's getting to that point possibly. So, Chiefs, slap him in the mouth. I do not want, with the possible retirement of Tom Brady, I do not want Collinsworth, Buck, Aikman to find someone else to jump on. And if he continues doing what he's doing in winning games, he will be the next. I'm not about to get X-rated here. Lover for those guys. And I don't want that. I don't want that.
I feel you, man. You know how I feel about Burrow, dude. Like he kind of like dropped on my social likability radar a full like 15 points after that first playoff win. I don't know. He's just, I want to like him. I think he's had it too easy coming up. Like, and I know he's talented and stuff, but everybody ever since, I'm sure he was in high school and middle school and then into college, you know, it's like he was the most touted quarterback for like 2 years before he actually entered the draft. They're like, just wait for Joe Burrow, wait for Joe Burrow. And then he comes in, he gets hurt. And that's not, you know, that's not his fault. But that game he played last week wasn't that great. like, I mean, I know that he made some special things, but let's not forget that he got sacked 9 times.
Yep.
You know, he still got that rookie vein in him. He hasn't played a full season. You know, he played a couple games and got hurt his first season. So, like, you know, big up to him for getting through the season, getting to the playoffs. I just wish the on-camera stuff, man. Like, I can't imagine if Josh Allen acted like that. And I know that's what we always do, right, as Bills fans. We compare all this stuff to Josh Allen. If Josh Allen came out the way he comes out and just, like Josh Allen is confident and Josh Allen is funny, but he's not, like, arrogant. You know what I mean?
That's the big thing.
Like,
The
he
arrogant
comes out
word.
and he's very humble and he's very, like, and he can crack a joke and he can say whatever, but, you know, they shut out the Texans, and what'd he say? Well, there's stuff that we can improve on, and we're going to go back and we're going to look at the tape. You know, that kind of thing. I don't know. It just it seems like entitled. But I don't want that to overshadow the fact that I think Mahomes is turning into the next Brady. Not talent-wise. I think he's a very talented quarterback, but definitely, like, sweetheart of the league-wise. Like, Nobody wants to badmouth Mahomes. Nobody wants to think he's done anything wrong. You know, no one
wants to throw a holding penalty on that offense after the quarterback passes the ball over 40 yards and scrambles. And anyways, we can go.
Yeah. So
I'm still bitter.
I don't know. John has a very good point, man. He's rooting for the Chiefs because he has a new respect for the Chiefs fans for what they did for Josh Allen.
Correct.
If you don't know, they have been donating. Chiefs Kingdom has been donating $13 increments to Oshai Children's Center for Patricia Allen. And I haven't checked it in days, but I knew it was getting up close to 200,000. So I don't know. Do you have a number on that, or is that
last I saw was like $184,000?
Yeah. So that's very cool. And also, man, take pride in this. Like, that idea came from right here. You know, not here, but like Buffalo Bills Mafia. You know what I mean? Like, been doing it for years. Look at when we beat the Ravens last year. You know, donating to Lamar's fund, all that stuff, man. I mean, it's countless the amounts of times that, you know, all the way back to the drought. Really, that was like the first one, right? Donating to Andy Dalton's fund, that, like, the first very public one. And how cool is that like the guys that get drunk and jump through flaming tables and all that stuff, like, are the ones that started this kind of, like, cool trendy thing of
a wonderful
donating.
trend.
Yeah.
Makes the world a better place for sure. You know what I mean? And it's one of those trends that is a positive one. So you might as well keep spreading the love. Thank you, Chiefs Kingdom. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, and that's respect, man. That's huge respect. That's not a sweet potato tirade on Twitter. That's like game recognizing game, and it's kind of like killing them with kindness, right? Like, I don't know. I like it. I like that. What's up, Paulette? Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Hey, guys, we just picked I think we both just picked the Chiefs, correct?
Yeah, so I'm saying the Chiefs. I am exactly where you're at with it, man. Aside from the fact that I think Burrow's cocky, and I don't really, I don't think he's putting in the time. So as much as you're like, I want to be the one that lost to the Super Bowl winner, I also am at the camp where it's like, Josh has put in his time, and I think it's criminal if Joe Burrow gets closer than Josh Allen did. You know what I mean? So that's me.
I agree. And now 49ers, Rams, it's a 6:30 game. Rams they're playing at the Rams Stadium. My only theory behind this is, you know, I have a good friend, Dan Alonji. He's a 49ers fan. I pulled for him last week. But now it's basically, I'm a quarterback guy. So I'm going Garoppolo versus Stafford. I've always been a fan of Stafford. The guy plays with broken bones. He's a tough son of a bitch. He's always, unfortunately, been on a Detroit Lions team that really didn't do much to surround him after they lost Megatron. So I am going for Stafford. I don't want him to be one of those quarterbacks, Swank, that is known as the guy that could never make it. Dan Marino made it his rookie year, second year, never made it back again. Obviously one of the elites, but he's always got that Super Bowl, right? That he didn't get back to. Stafford needs to at least make one. I'm rooting for him and the Rams, even though I don't like McAvoy or McFoy. What's his name?
Sean McVay.
McVay. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him, but Stafford, yeah. Robert Woods, I think, would still get a Super Bowl ring if I'm not correct, because he started the season, which would be pretty sweet too.
Yeah.
So I'm going for the Rams. I'm going for Chiefs Rams Super Bowl.
Nice. I wanted that old school, like, if things went the right way. And actually Peter, who I think is a new viewer, man, thanks for tuning in and checking it out, said that he can't stop thinking about how great could have been, like today could have been Buffalo home against the Bengals. You're right, dude. My morning would have been completely different because I actually had the opportunity to have a ticket to go. I think Scott was working on that as well.
Yep.
So yeah, man, I feel you. We were talking about it Tuesday. It's very, this is like a cliche term and people don't like to use it, but it's a very Buffalo thing. And I think that's the best way to like describe it, is like it feels very like this is kind of the way things go for the Bills sometimes, and not as much lately. Like I think these instances and opportunities like are more rare than they were in the past, but I think it just hits harder because you've lived a whole life of like the miracle on wide right and blah 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 and Hail Murray and all these catchy. Does anybody else have like a team with all these like catchy stupid plays that they've gotten beat on? I hate that. Anyway,
Raiders have a handful of them, but they're all for the Raiders. They're all for the Raiders. The fumble, the Casper catch, all those, a fumbly, oopsie doopsie.
We got cool gifs.
Yeah,
we got like that Clements gif of knocking Tom Brady out. That's cool.
Yeah, right. There you go. That is pretty amazing.
But yeah, so you there? Oh, there it is.
I can hear you. I can see you. Yeah.
I was twiddling with my headphone.
You gotta stop twiddling. You'll grow hair on your palms.
So I was rooting for a Bills 49ers Super Bowl.
Yep.
I think as much as I think if the Bills moved on, they could have beat anybody that was left. I also think that the Niners are the least likely to beat anybody. like even their loss was their win was suspect. I don't know how much I believe in Jimmy. All that being said, and I have a lot of respect for Matt Stafford. You know how I group those quarterbacks into the Phillip Rivers, Jay Cutler tiers, right? Mm-hmm. He's never been that guy for me. There's never been like there's always been talk about like how good of a quarterback he is. But he's never for me been put in that same category. Maybe because he's like quieter,
mm-hmm.
and like just humble and whatever, and he's had to take his lickings. But now, to be honest, it's like his career started over. He's actually got like the team that can take him. So that's a cool story, but I hate Odell Beckham, and I also hate Ramsey, and I don't want them to get rings. So I am hoping that history proves right again, and the Niners beat the Rams, and that's where I'm going with that, man. The Rams haven't beat the Niners like in 2 years.
Right. And you know what? If the Niners do make it win a Super Bowl, does that tie them with the Patriots? I don't know. We'll have to look back. How many do the Patriots have?
No, because I think the Niners are still behind the Steelers, right?
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to look that up. So, Swank, this is the part I think we go from 2021 to 2022. Cool. And I do want to remind people that we are going to have a Last K-Gun report on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Pardon. Jeez. It's going to be a special report. We're going to have a bunch of special guests on the show, some super fans, maybe some ex-players, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be kind of a reminiscence, kind of reflecting kind of show, but we want you guys all to join us and talk about, we're going to talk about our Buffalo Bills. And I do want to lead off. Jared sent this to us today from a quote from our best coach ever, Marv Levy, before we start off to the next season. "Fight on, my men," Sir Andrew said. "I am hurt, but I am not slain. I lay me down and bleed a while, and then I'll rise and fight again. So I love that quote, and that's very, I think, appropriate for the 2021 season coming into the 2022 season. We've been hurt. We're down. Time to come back and fight again. So thanks, Marv Levy, for that quote. I know it's used quite often, but I think transitioning to the next step is the right way to go. So, Bills news. Daboll's to the Giants. With speculation that it was a deal. It was a deal that was going to go through as long as Daboll got what he wanted. And part of that, what he wanted was to bring Ken Dorsey with him. I haven't heard anything yet. From Ken Dorsey and what's going on with him. But Swank, the question I have for you is this a good move for Dorsey if he follows Daboll to the Giants?
No.
Okay, next question.
No. Yeah, I mean, so I think the natural progression of things, and I think the way it should go, and I think the way it's been amping up to go, is that Ken Dorsey understands Josh Allen better than anybody on the team, if you're asking me. I don't think that Daboll and him have that relationship. I know that they do all their lip service and everybody, oh, Mr. Daboll, blah, blah, blah. I saw this ridiculous comment. I think I shared it with you guys, right? Who sent that? It was that Brian Daboll was the reason that they're winning games, not Sean McDermott. Remember I sent you that screenshot?
Yep, I can't remember who that was.
Oh, it was Edelman. Julian Edelman.
Oh, yes.
Julian Edelman saying that he thinks basically Buffalo is going to crumble because they didn't win games because of McDermott. They won games because of Daboll. Now, I'll remind you.
Daboll also coached during that time when Edelman was there. He was in New England.
And that's fine and everything. Daboll didn't hack it in New England also. He went back to the college after that, right? So, and also McDermott took a team to the playoffs that had no business being in the playoffs before Daboll was even on the team. So, go on, get out of here, Julian Edelman. God, I hate that guy. I think Dorsey would be smarter to stay in Buffalo. I think it's a faster track to get to a head coaching job.
Thank you. Good.
Like, if you follow Brian Daboll to the Giants and you chase the potential money, I don't know. Like, I don't think that Sean McDermott and he's not even involved in that. But like the GM and the owners, between Bean and the Pagulas, I don't think that they're gonna like lowball Ken Dorsey, and I don't think they're gonna overpay him either. I think they're gonna be like, look. You know the system. This is a huge opportunity. If you want to move on in the next 3 years, you potentially could be an offensive coordinator there for 2 or 3 years, and then move on and be a head coach anywhere you want to be. And you have a great relationship with Josh Allen. I mean, I don't see it making any sense to go to New York with Brian Daboll, with Dan Jones, and what are you going to do? Is he going to keep Daniel Jones?
Dan Jones.
Danny boy.
I've never heard him called Dan Jones. Daniel Jones. That's awesome.
Danny Jones.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. What are you going to keep him? Are you going to move on? He's been down there 3 years now.
I've always said, Swank, new head coach, new quarterback.
Yeah, my team.
And the Giants have two picks in the top 10 this year.
Yeah. Well, so quarterback wise, is that Is that something I'm not very up on the draft, my brother? So
there's not a lot of talent at quarterback position this year, but there is a few that could potentially start. And with 2 top 10 picks, for sure, you get I would go defense first. I'd get one of those top defensive edge rushers for the Giants, maybe even a tackle. There's a big guy, last name Evans from Alabama, 350 pounds, 6'6", huge. And then get your quarterback, get your protection, get your quarterback. That'd be smart. That would be, if Daboll was smart, that's what he would do.
Yeah. Well, and maybe I'm just wrong, and maybe this is this might be one of those things, and I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of streams that people are going to be like, well, I was completely wrong about that. But you can go through all the episodes and see me ripping apart Daboll for one thing or the other. I've also given him credit where credit's due, and also he doesn't care because he's a millionaire and he's a head coach, and I'm just like some dude sitting in my studio yakking about the Bills and complaining about what I don't like and celebrating what I do like. I just get this feeling and from the team, from the frustration in the earlier like midseason games, from everything that I see and read, right? Because Dable's not really out in the community too much. He's not always doing pressers. He's not always like front and center. He's more behind the curtain. And I think there's a reason for that. You see Leslie Frazier a lot more than you see Brian Dable anywhere when he was in Buffalo. And I really think that there is a disconnect between what McDermott wants the offense, how McDermott wants the offense to perform, how Josh wants the offense to perform, and what Dable is trying to fit. And I think it's a square peg round hole situation.
Yep.
And I think it's worked because of the talent, which is not always the case, right? Like, but it's just you have
talent's overcome. Yep, the talent has overcome the. Yep.
The talent and the discipline on the McDermott side of things, right? Where he preaches a mindset and a work ethic, and so I just don't think that anybody within that organization, if that's the case, would be like tripping over themselves to follow him to New York. Right. Maybe you want to be in the city. Maybe you want the spotlight. Maybe you think it's a great opportunity. I don't see it being a better opportunity than staying in Buffalo.
Right. And I agree. I want to throw this out there. Peter Frontiero. I believe you're new. I want to say I've seen your name on here before, but welcome if you are new. Thank you for telling me the 49ers have 5 Super Bowls. The Steelers and the Patriots each have 6. So if the Niners did make it, then they'd be up there right with those guys. Thank you, Peter. You guys will find, if anybody new to this page, that we love to include the Fandemonium, the Mafia in the conversation.
Yep.
And if you have something to say, let us know. We'll try to get to it. Swank, my take on Ken Dorsey, I have a few things. Ken Dorsey was offered a whole bunch of offensive coordinator positions last year. He did not take. Ooh. So whether that was a circumstance where he believed that Dable was out next year and he could take over, or somehow him and Dable got together and said, hey, listen, wherever I go, I'm going to take you with you. You with me. I don't know how that would play out, but I believe it's the first. What I said, I think Ken Dorsey knew Dable was on his way out the next year. That's why he refused those offensive coordinator requests last year. And bada bing, bada boom, Ken Dorsey's ours. Here's the thing. You want to try to be the head coach as fast as you can, right?
Yeah.
Don't you believe? So I believe that Ken Dorsey takes the Bills offensive coordinator position if it's offered to him, which I doubt that it wouldn't be. He's got a relationship with Allen, like you said. He's got a relationship with the offense. He won't change it much. He goes to New York. He's got a Daniel Jones that's struggling, Saquon Barkley, who's not doing all that great. Who's their wide receivers over there? He's going to have a 2-3 year process before he's even offered, or even more, offered a head coaching position.
Got a 3-year rebuilding process. I mean,
exactly.
Right?
So he's there for at least 3 years before any other offers for head coaching. And isn't that the ultimate coach for goal for these coordinators? Is probably to be a head coach somewhere. You stay in Buffalo, you're going to get 2-3 years before those head coaching offers are offered to you, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So you could take 5-6 years with the Giants, or you can get those offers within the next couple of years. Ken Dorsey, please make the right decision for all of us, because we don't want to see this offense changing.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if I think Bean and McDermott are locked in so much. I mean, look at what happened with oh God, who was our first offensive coordinator when they came on for the Ravens?
Oh, Greg Roman,
right? When Roman was here, he lasted 1 season.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that was like with Tyrod and all that stuff, and to be honest, like Tyrod's a mobile quarterback. You can see what Roman's doing with Lamar Jackson, all that stuff. But you can almost see what the fate of the Bills would have been if he stayed. You got a similar quarterback. If everything was the same as far as like Josh Allen, draft class, all that stuff,
they'd have been figured out.
They'd been figured out, and you know, you possibly could have had Josh hurt as much as Lamar Jackson's been hurt, because he's putting him in those situations over and over and over again.
Right.
And actually, we've accused Dable of kind of doing that sometimes with these designed runs when they were unnecessary, like, you know, and whatever. I mean, I think like the writing's on the wall. Like, he gave him 1 season. That's like Greg Roman is a respected name in the NFL, and he gave him 1 season with a quarterback they knew they weren't moving on with. And he was like, all right, we need something else, between him and Bean. So I think that's, to me, I don't think if Dorsey leaves, they're not just going to throw some name in there. I think it's got to be like, you got to work well with this guy. Josh is like, McDermott came out and said Josh is going to be involved in every decision.
Yep. So Ken Dorsey's staying.
I hope so, man. I hope so. God, I hope so.
Unless Josh takes the route that he's like, I want what's best for my friend, my coach, and the best thing for him is to become a head coach. So he's got to do what he's got to do. There's 2 routes I could take. I could see Josh saying that would being how unselfish he is.
Yeah, I think that point you were making about like maybe he held out to go with Dable because he knew Dable was leaving. They've said Dable was going to leave for like the last 3 years, and I don't know if you want to hitch your wagon to that shooting star, you know what I mean? like be like, I'll go wherever you go, coach. Like, nah, I think he can carve his own way. And I think a lot of these guys are more independent, like team oriented when it comes to the team, but independent in business decisions. And
these GMs are smart, Swank. So anybody, even when you go for a job and you're going for an interview, anybody that gets a sense that you are a follower, not a leader, you're not going to get the job. So as soon as, like what you're saying, as soon as someone like Ken Dorsey says, I'm going wherever you're going because I'm not the leader you don't want that guy being your head coach. No. You want the guy saying, okay, you're gone. I'm taking over. Finally. And I'm going to make this my joint. Yep. Finally. Yeah. I was going to say, would you be upset if Dable stayed? But he's not staying. He's gone, guys. It doesn't matter what we say. We can't take it back. They took Dable from us. You know what they're not talking about? All this talk about offense. Frazier. Mm-hmm. Do you see him even getting a job?
I don't see why not. I mean,
I don't
to be honest, like if you're looking at statistics, and I know it's not all about that, but he had the number 1 defense in the league, and with no Pro Bowlers and 2 All-Pros. I mean, to me, that's just a statement of the level of disrespect that the fan base gets and like the market gets. If he was anywhere else and he had the number 1 defense, he'd been gone. He would have been gone before Dable was gone. Yep. And why does the Giants are like such a tire fire right now, like on both sides of the ball? Wouldn't you want more of a defensive minded coach, you would think, down there? Like, that's just what I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, isn't that what Joe Judge was? Wasn't he a defensive guy?
I guess. Yeah. I guess. But I don't know. I always thought Leslie got a bum rap in Minnesota. I thought he was a good coach. I think they just got impatient with him. And, whatever. So it wouldn't hurt my feelings if Leslie stayed. I think him and Sean have a really good relationship, and I think Sean's not afraid to take the reins away from him when he needs to too.
Right, and they have that understanding.
Yeah, and a number 1 defense. You were like literally 1 or 2 players away from them being an unstoppable force, like completely unstoppable. Trey comes back, that's one of them. So I don't know. I thought for sure the Bears were going to go after Leslie. I really thought that. Khalil Mack and all that stuff. Just, I don't know. It felt like that was going to be the fit. But now, I mean, God, did they hire Nathaniel Hackett? Was that who they hired? Or they
he
hired
went
the
somewhere.
Other? Yeah, he went to one of these places. Jags, maybe?
I think so. I can't keep track of them right now.
Yeah, I can't either.
But I'm with you, Swank. I think Frazier, takeaway last year, he had a top 5 defense 2 years ago. He had the Bills, he coached the Bills again last year, and this year he's got the number 1 defense in the league. It's not by chance that happens, guys. It's the guy is a leader of men. He knows how to control, how to communicate, how to be a leader in the locker room, and how to step back and let the leaders in the locker room take over. So he knows, and he's been in the league long enough. I for sure think Leslie Frazier deserves another chance for a head coaching position. I can see him go somewhere, be a head coach, and also be the defensive coordinator there for sure. But it's got to be. I don't know why he hasn't had any offers yet, which is driving me crazy. And I would not mind if he stayed.
Our guy Jim Graham brings up a point. He says the only reason we had a number 1 defense was because of the weak schedule. You know, people say that, or it's whisperings. I mean, they can't pick it, obviously. You know, all that normal rhetoric that you get. We played the Bucks hard. We played the Titans hard. We beat the Chiefs. Like, you know, I don't know. Aside from like the Jags game and that week 1 mishap against the Steelers, there's not a whole lot that I'm upset about that the defense did aside from this last playoff game, you know, against arguably the best football team in the National Football League for like 3 years running. So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, let's take a look at this. Out of the playoff teams that made the playoffs this year, and you want to go tough schedule, we played the Tennessee Titans, number 1 rank.
Mm-hmm.
We played Kansas City, number 2 rank. We played the Patriots twice. Bada bing.
Yeah.
Miami was 1 game away from making the playoffs. How hard do you want to make our season? You know what I mean? NFC teams that made the playoffs. We played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, arguably one of the best teams in the NFL. We took them to overtime. Again, I can keep going. Yes, we played the Jets twice. Miami's a tough team. Weak schedule. Colts. I think it's tough to say. You can look at the records, which I just pointed out. All those teams almost made the playoffs, if not made it in. I am disagreeing with you. Weak schedule is one thing. Playing in elements is another thing. You still have to play the games. They're still all NFL teams. The Jets, look who they almost beat. They beat the Cincinnati Bengals, didn't they? You can't judge what teams are tough and what teams aren't because the worst teams in the league beat the best teams in the league.
No, the Jags. I mean, look at the Jags. They beat us. They beat the Colts and took their season away. Like, it's any given Sunday, right? Again, another catchy, buzzy phrase, but it's the truth, man. And we get to sit here objectively and kind of like pass these blanket judgments and statements about like this guy, that guy, whatever. The reality is like all of these dudes from the top down have lived the game of football from the time they were like 5. You know, it's been their whole life and all they lived and eat and breathe and everything else. And individually, each one of those guys all want to go out there and rip somebody's head out when they're on the field. So you can't take that away, you know. I think we as fans get into this like kind of like this security blanket spot where we're like, that team did this time and this time, that's what they are. And it's kind of like a, you know, Buffalo's curse, right? Where it's like the Bills will just never be good, and it's like that's bullshit. You know, they have been good for the last 4 years, whatever. But I think that we just the Jets, you know, and you're like, man, what they are now doesn't equate to what they'll be in 2 years, and it doesn't equate to what they were last week, and it doesn't equate to what they'll be tomorrow. You know, things change, schemes change, players change, coaches change, mindsets change. I think it's like a psychology thing where if something bad happens, you just like, oh, see, you know, it's just like this loss, right? Like, of course that happened because look at all this other stuff that's always happened to them, right? And yeah, it really has no bearing on anything in the present. It's just what we've concocted in our brain. So I don't know.
Well, the schedule's not going to get any easier next year. When you finish first in a division, you play a division in the NFC, a division in the AFC, and then you play the top number ones in all the other divisions in the AFC, and then the top number one next year will be in the NFC West. We'll have the Rams next year. So same story was this year. We finished top of our division. We played the top team. So
that's what we wanted.
And agree to disagree.
Yeah.
With the strength of schedule. Yep. All right, Swank, with all this talk about making our, you mentioned something a little earlier about a couple pieces missing. And I like to talk that, you know, this is March is going to become free agency frenzy. And then in April, we have the draft. Buffalo Bills fans right now, I think currently we have an estimation of maybe negative $1.7 million in cap space, which obviously that's with all the players on the roster right now. They did just sign a whole bunch of those reserve contracts.
Yeah.
And we all know Bean's good at moving money around. Letellier, Ford, Beasley, and Morse. Those guys are the four big guys I saw that could give us a big bump in our cap space without in comparison to what we owe them in dead space. They could open up about $18.5 million if we got rid of them. Out of that list of unrestricted free agents, I could go over the list with you, but there's a handful I think that Buffalo Bills should re-sign. Harrison Phillips, one of them. Levi Wallace, Ryan Bates, Ike Boeker. Would you agree with those names out of that group?
Yeah, you sent us that list yesterday, and those exactly were the four names that I was like, yep. I also think Isaiah McKenzie's on that list, and he should stay.
There you go. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bills do as far as our current free agents and our current contracts. But what I want to ask you, Swank, is what position, and I put out a poll earlier this week on Twitter and on Facebook about what the Mafia believes is the most important position to address during the draft. Twitter is a resounding cornerback, and Facebook is a resounding interior defensive line. What do you think is the first position with the 2022 draft with pick number 25 in the first round? 25. What position do you think we address?
Well, this is a different kind of luxury. We've said it, I think, for the last couple of years that it's like last year I was good with best available. Didn't matter to me. CB2 was like kind of where I was at with that. But it didn't really matter to me. I think this year, even though you could pick the best available and it'll help anywhere, I think you definitely have to go defensive side of the ball. Whereas a couple months ago I would have said offensive line with the first pick, but I think you got to go defense. And I'm still thinking you need a shutdown corner on the other side. I think I respect Levi for what he did and what he is, and I think he deserves another contract. But I think you just need somebody to shut that down. So I would go CB2 with the Twitter world. The other thing, if you're trying to stop Kelsey, right, and you're trying to stop Tyreek Hill from cutting you across the middle, as much as this is going to suck to hear, you need something different at linebacker. And I don't know what you do with that because I love both those guys. I don't think, like I've said on the show a million times, you can't give up on Tremaine Edmonds yet. Like, not at all. I think he's way worth keeping. And Milano,
he's on his fifth-year option this year, and then nothing else after so far.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see. But like, I think like you can't. I mean, you just signed Milano, and he's a stud, and he sits right there, and he's speedy, and he likes to hit, and blah blah blah. There's just something's got to change somewhere in there so that we can get those guys that can stop those dudes coming over the middle.
Right. It's like, I think I've mentioned it a couple times before, but you know how I like the draft, right?
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite times other than the season. It's my favorite time of the year. I could tell you Edmonds isn't going anywhere only because he did sign his fifth-year option at $12.5 million. And if he gets cut, then the Bills lose that 12.5. So it's a wash. Yeah, they lose all that money. Anyway. Yeah. They lose all that money if they do. Maybe they'll draft maybe the second, third round linebacker, which I believe they'll do, to maybe potentiate maybe later down the road have him take over the reins. No. We don't know what Frazier's doing. So the Bills strictly run a 4-2-5 defense, which is their strategy most times, defensive scheme most times. If a new coach comes in, I don't think they'll throw the whole 3-4 defense out there, but we may see more of a 4-3 defense. Which we would need a linebacker.
And to that point, you could keep those other two guys. You could keep Edmonds in his spot as the Mike and all that stuff, but still have that extra guy. Like, I don't know. I think that might be the answer that we're looking for, man.
Because it's a totally different defense. Well, you take two linebackers out there and then you add another linebacker. That makes Edmonds' responsibility a little different, but he also needs to control his pursuit, which would be a big issue if he continues doing what he's doing. But I'm with you. I think a linebacker is something they're going to get not in the first round, though. And it all depends on Trey White's prognosis. If he's someone that's still going to be out a quarter of the season, for sure, get that cornerback number one. Get that cornerback number two, because I think we're okay We need to lock down that number 2 spot. And I got a guy I like, Kyer Elam from Florida. He's 6'1", about 190 pounds. The guy is sub 4.45 speed, so he'll be able to keep up with the fast wide receivers. But later in the rounds, I think there's a lot of corners in this draft. I think he'll be available. But I also think if the Bills get rid of Star Lotulelei and they don't sign Vernon Butler, then they're going to have a hole at that Tech 1 position. And I think the defensive tackle, Jordan Davis from Georgia, 6'6", 350 pounds. Can you imagine that in the middle?
Wow.
I think he potentially could be a landing spot for Buffalo there. So, again, depending on what Trey White does, depending on what happens with Star Lotulelei, that's my first 2 picks. White out, corner. Lotulelei gone, defensive tackle. And I do think they need help with offensive line, but we know how the Bills like to move things around and create spots. That could be a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. But also, I agree. Defense is where they're going to start off with, and depending on what happens with Frazier, we won't know.
I think I'm hard pressed for him to go defensive line again, just because of how much they invested last year. Unless you're unloading Hughes, Addison, and Lotulelei, like, okay. But I wouldn't even. I don't know. I mean, you got enough depth there, and you got enough young guys, like maybe one of those positions. And I think, I mean, if you sign Butler back, if it's worth signing Butler back, I don't know. I mean, definitely Harry, definitely Ed. So then
Zimmer's coming back.
Zimmer. So, okay. I mean, so you got some depth. So I don't know if I'd address it in the draft. Maybe another edge rusher. In free agency. But I
mean, you're right. If Lotulelei stays and they re-sign at least one of those other Harrison Phillips or Butler, then our defensive line, I would say, is set as far as the amount of defensive linemen.
I don't know if I want Star to stay. I think the money's more important right now, and I think he can move it around. For his availability and his stats for this last season when he was in there, it's. He's a big chunk.
He's on contract for 2 more years, and if they cut him this year, the Bills will only gain $1.5 million in space.
Oh yeah.
So that's not a lot of money they're going to gain from him.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we need consistency with him, right?
It's a predicament.
All right, but we'll talk a lot more about this in the upcoming weeks for sure. We're gonna. I know the K-Gun Report has their last episode on Tuesday, but we'll be coming back March 15th, which is the day before free agency frenzy. Yes, and then obviously we have our huge draft show that we do in April. I think it's April 28th this year. It'll be the Thursday. Don't write it down yet because I don't think that's an accurate date. But, we do a long show and we like to talk about the 24/7 Buff Pandemonium, the fans. We like to talk about beer. We like to talk about football and eat some food.
Taking calls.
Take calls. Swank, something that has hit us hard the last week. We do donations and charities on our show. And when it hits home, when it hits something close, it just, makes you feel a little different. And Swank's buddy, our friend there, you want to tell the story real quick? We're going to do a donation raffle. I'll get the details out, but if you want to tell.
Yeah. So over the last year and a half or so, we've done a fair amount of donations and hooked up with some great organizations and causes and friends, to really help a lot of people within Bills Mafia and other places. But right now, we have the opportunity to help somebody that's actually like close to my life and our lives. My friend Josiah, he has a son, a 5-year-old son, Easton, who's a really fireball kid. He's really cool. He runs around. He came out here and played with my nephews. We had a yard sale and stuff, and he's just full energy, baseball, football, everything. Loves Josh Allen, loves the Bills.
He's a huge Bills fan.
Huge Bills fan. Me and a bunch of my buddies chipped in to get him a Josh Allen Color Rush jersey while he was in the hospital, because Easton, he had a seizure, and they didn't know what caused it, so they took him to the hospital, and he had a cyst in his brain, so he had to have emergency brain surgery the very next day. It looks as though hopefully everything's going to be all right. He's got a pretty big scar, but he's got some good energy, good high hopes, and a good attitude. And he's got to go in for checkups and stuff like that. But what we want to do is help cover the cost of the hospital visit and the surgery. So we're doing a big donation raffle here at 24/7 BF.
Yep. Swank, I know you mentioned he's a huge Bills fan, to the point where his biggest concern on Sunday before when he went into the hospital was, how am I going to watch the Bills game? And the Golisano Hospital, Children's Hospital, amazing place. Apparently the doctors and the nurses were all wearing their Bills gear, so it kind of made him more comfortable. They were able to find a game for him to watch.
Yeah,
and
as far as I
then
know.
and then before his surgery, the day of or whatever, his big thing was he wanted the shout song to be played.
Yeah, he made Joe play this shout song that morning.
Yep. So he's a huge Bills fan.
Yeah.
And, what we're doing is one of our donation raffles. It's going to go until Super Bowl Sunday. So we're going to start it probably tomorrow. You'll see it on our Facebook page, 24/7 Buff Fandemonium, and our Twitter at 24/7 Buff Fandom. It's going to be $20 a spot, as many donations as you want. Not only are you going to help out a great family and a little man named Easton, but you're also going to get yourself entered to win a Josh Allen jersey, Zach Moss jersey, a Sammy Watkins jersey, and possibly a little more.
8x10.
Jersey. Yeah. The Watkins is an 8x10.
Yep.
But guys, it's going to help with cost, surgical cost, hospital cost, all that good stuff. And it's for a little guy. And we love helping out the little ones. $20 a spot, unlimited spots. Donate as many times as you want. And again, it's going to go till Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. There you go.
There it is.
Thank you. There it is. Be sure to join us on Tuesday as the K-Gun Report goes live, with a whole bunch of fans are going to be on. We're just going to reminisce about the season and talk some Buffalo Bills football. A lot of things to watch out for this year. Our draft show, our regular season rager, sponsors, hopefully, Cerveza sponsors for those that speak Spanish. But we got a lot on our plate. We're actually coming up with a dream board, or whatever Jared likes to call it, and we're going to have a lot more goals. We're going to set them high, because we definitely beat the goals we had for this year, didn't we, Swank?
Yeah, hell yeah. Knocked them out.
But we're going to set our goals high, guys, and we wouldn't be able to set these goals without knowing it. You have our backs.
Yeah.
So Swank, you want to send us off on the Sunday sessions?
Yeah, man. Thanks for a great season. Thanks for welcoming us into your home or phone or whatever before the games for this last half of the year. And we'll definitely be back. Mr. Ryan Thomas was traveling today, so he couldn't be on the show. But we've had a lot of fun with him. He's enjoyed being on, and going to be involved more, I think, in this and maybe a little bit of the K-Gun here and there. So thank you guys. Please spread that event around when it comes out, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday for the huge Season 2 finale of the K-Gun Report.
Makes me sad, but the new beginning. Guys, thank you, 24/7 Buff Fandemonium. Thank you, Mafia. We have a lot of fun doing this. Can't wait to see you Tuesday, and then we'll give you updates as we go along. Check out our Facebook page, our Twitter page, and our Instagram page.
Oh, yeah.
And you can listen to our shows on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can get podcasts.
That's what I'm going to spend this break doing, is catching up all those.
There you go. Hear our lovely voices. Well, Swank, congrats to the Sunday sessions. I think it was a hit, and we'll continue this next year, and I appreciate you tagging along. Of course, I knew you would.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I'm not tagging along. You're tagging along. Son of a bitch.
All right, guys. Fandemonium, we love you. Until next time. Go Bills!
Go Bills. See you guys.
This is a dangerous group that